Hey Soul Fam, how we doing? Happy Saturday. I was chilling by the fire and I felt inspired to do the second installment of Storytime with Amy. And I'm going to read to you from the Bhagavad Gita. This is one of my favorite books. And I've been wanting to share this story for quite some time now because I really feel like the themes in the book are really appropriate for what's happening right now, what humanity is going through, and what we're going through as well individually. So, if you're not cozy already, get yourself a blanket and a pillow and curl up and let me tell you a story. So, the Bhagavad Gita is, it's from the Hindu wisdom tradition, and this story is just but a scene from a much larger saga called the Mahabharata. And the Mahabharata has many, many, many different characters, and it's very long, and this is just one scene from that big saga. And it takes place in the middle of a battlefield before the battle is about to begin. And the entire book is a conversation between Arjuna, the warrior, the main character, and Krishna, his right-hand man, who in the middle of the conversation, he turns into the divine, into God, and delivers advice for Arjuna. And so Arjuna is having a dilemma, a breakdown in the middle of the battlefield. On one side of the battlefield is his family, so his brother, his father, and on the other side of the battlefield are his relatives, so people that were very close to him, that raised him, that taught him how to be a warrior. And so he's having a spiritual dilemma, unable to fight, and doesn't know what to do. And so he asks for Krishna's counsel in the middle of the battlefield before the battle begins. And so I really feel like in many ways, humanity right now is facing the same thing as Arjuna, and we are collectively and individually as well. That idea of having a fight that we don't really want to fight, but we feel called to fight, and that we sort of have to fight at some point. And it's really about awakening that courage within you to hold your ground, to use your voice, to stand up for your rights and other people's rights and the next generation's rights. And it's also about having the courage to see the truth and to turn eyes towards the real oppressors. You know, in this story, the Arjuna's relatives had taken the kingdom from Arjuna's family unjustly, unlawfully, and Arjuna and his father tried many times to get the kingdom back peacefully, but to no avail. So it had to come to battle. It had to come to this. And so, yeah, we're a lot like Arjuna. And I feel like a part of that is having that courage to turn eyes towards the true oppressors that have taken our kingdom, that have usurped us, and to say no more, that we see what you've been doing for thousands of years, and the jig is up, and we're not going to take it anymore, and we're going to stand firm. And so there's another concept in this book about dharma, which some of you may be familiar with. And that really just means your duty or your mission in this life. And it's different for everyone. For some people, they might relate to the idea of the warrior, of the main character, Arjuna, and they might relate to that. But others, it might be that they are meant to be a supporter or a teacher or a mother, or an organizer, or a visionary, or an innovator. We all have different parts to play in the whole. We're all these different little puzzle pieces, part of the big puzzle. So the idea of, could you imagine if we all embodied our Dharma? And again, it doesn't have to be grandiose. It can really just mean embodying exactly what it is that you're meant to embody while you're here. So being unapologetically you in every way, in your fullness, in your naturalness, sharing and expressing your gifts in the world, whatever that might be. And doing so unhindered and uninhibited and unrestricted. So the book also talks about death and the Atma, the true self within. So that part of us that is eternal, that never dies, that lives on. And I think having a really good understanding of death in this life can really help us have freedom in life, and especially during this time when a lot of us are being asked to become our strongest selves. So, okay, let's get into it. So let's see what Krishna has to say to Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield. Arjuna's eyes were burning with tears of compassion and confusion. As Krishna watches the once brave warrior prince plunge into pitiable weakness, his normally soft eyes become steely, and he speaks. Arjuna, where does all this despair come from? You are a great warrior, a proven winner. Cast off this faint-heartedness. Stand up, O sorcerer of enemies. Arjuna interrupts, I can't believe you're telling me to fight. He shakes his head as though trying to clear his mind. Krishna sits quietly. Arjuna breathes deeply and blurts, how? The word hangs in the air between them. How? How can I not be weak, Krishna, for me to attack Bhishma, who was like a grandfather to me, or to assault my beloved former teacher, Drona? It would be wrong. I should revere these elders, not shoot at them. I don't want a blood-smeared victory. If I kill them, I would not care to live, Krishna. It would be better to be killed myself, he mutters ruefully. I don't know which way to turn. Either way, winning or losing this battle, I lose. I'm utterly confused, Arjuna continues, as to what is my duty. I can't think of any remedy for this awful grief that has dried up my energy, Krishna. If I were to gain great wealth and power, what would that prove? I'm asking you to help me, not just tell me to go out and fight. I beg you to tell me what I should do. I am your pupil. Be my teacher, my guru. I take refuge in you and surrender to you. Please instruct me, beloved Krishna. Show me the way. The great warrior prince who has never known retreat slips deeper into his dark dejection. He mumbles, I shall not fight, and becomes silent. Now that Arjuna has submitted himself as a pupil, Krishna transforms into his true role as the divine teacher. He tightens the reins in his hand, looks long into the crestfallen warrior's eyes, and begins to speak. You may grieve sincerely, Arjuna, but it is without cause. Your words may seem wise, but the truly wise one grieves neither for the living nor the dead. There has never been a time when I or you or any of these kings and soldiers here did not exist. And there will never be a time when we cease to exist. Physical bodies appear and disappear, but not the Atma, the soul, the life force that lives within them. This life force comes and dwells in a body for a while therein it experiences infancy, childhood, youth, and old age. And then, upon death, passes eventually to a new body. Changes such as death pertain to the body, not the Atma. The wise person does not get caught up in the delusion that he or she is this body, Arjuna. This delusion is the very definition of ego. Arjuna, the contact of bodily senses with objects and attractions in the world creates feelings like sorrow or happiness and sensations like heat or cold. But these are impermanent, transitory, coming and going like passing clouds. Just endure them patiently and bravely, Learn to be unaffected by them. The serene person, unaffected by these worldly feelings and sensations, is the same in pain and pleasure, and does not allow him or herself to get disturbed or sidetracked. This is the person fit for immortality. Realize this and assert your strength, Arjuna. Do not identify your true self merely with your mortal body. Real, as used in spirituality, means that which is eternal, never changing, indestructible. This is the very definition of reality. That which is real never ceases to be. Anything that is impermanent, even if it lasts a very long time and seems durable, eventually changes, and thus does not have true reality. The wise ones understand the difference between the real and the not real. When you fully understand this profound fact, you will have attained the zenith of all knowledge. One's body, according to this knowledge, is not real, and yet there is something that dwells within the body that is real, the Atma, which is existence itself, awareness, pure consciousness. Get to know this reality. It pervades the entire cosmos and is unchanging and indestructible. No power can affect it. No one can change the changeless. The Atma Arjuna is like space or sky. Clouds appear in the sky, but their presence does not cause the sky to grow apart to make room for them. In the same manner, the Atma, the true self within, remains ever itself. Things of the material universe come and go, appear and disappear, but the Atma never changes. Only the body is immortal. Only the body will come to an end. But the Atma, which is the true self within, is immortal and will never come to an end. So fight, O warrior. You talk about killing or being killed. Know that the body may be killed, but the indwelling reality, the Atma, can never be. To say that one person slays and the other is slain is correct from a physical, worldly standpoint, but is not the reality of the matter. The Atma, the real us, was never born, nor will it ever die. In fact, this eternal reality within is never destroyed and never undergoes any changes. When your ego takes over and you erroneously identify yourself with the body, you feel that physical death is death to the self, and that is frightening. But the self, Atma, can never be killed. When the body is slain, the Atma remains unaffected. As a person sheds a worn-out garment, the dweller within the body casts aside its time-worn human frame and dons a new one. The indweller, the self, the Atma, remains unaffected by all worldly changes. It is not wounded by weapons, burned by fire, dried out by wind, or wet by water. This indwelling self is all-pervading, which means it is everywhere. It is also eternal and changeless, because it is beyond the worldly dimension of time. Time has no access to it. Arjuna, the cessation of your present pain and sorrow will depend on how well you overcome your ignorance of your true self within. It is not easy, as I said, Arjuna, to fathom this mysterious concept of the true self. Everything else in the world changes. Every creature, rock, blade of grass, human being, element, or component of any kind changes. Only the Atma never changes. Because it is never modified, it is termed immutable. Because it is invisible, has no form, and cannot be heard, smelled, or touched, it is termed unmanifested. Because the human mind cannot perceive or conceive it, it is said to be unknowable. So why grieve over a self that is immutable, unmanifested, and unknowable? Krishna lets those ideas sink in and continues. Even if you do choose to see yourself as a worldly body that dies, why suffer this anguish? Your despondency steals your strength. Death is inevitable for all the living. You know that death is certain in all of nature, so why mourn that which is natural? Nothing, absolutely nothing in nature is permanent. All beings are temporary. Before birth, they are unmanifested. At birth, they become manifested. At their end, they again become unmanifested. What is there in all this to grieve over? Grieving over the temporary just uses up your energy and holds back your spiritual growth. You must understand that all beings, whether called friend or enemy, have this indestructible Atma within. You must be poised above this debilitating sorrow of yours, Arjuna. One's personal duty in life, one's svadharma, should be viewed as one's responsibility to his or her highest self, the Atma. This ultra-high level of duty carries with it the requirement that one never does anything that is contrary to this true self within. And even if you consider your svadharma more narrowly from a standpoint of being your true profession, you should not hesitate to fight. For a warrior, war against evil, greed, cruelty, hate, and jealousy is the highest duty. The tide of fortune comes in but rarely. This war is a great, unsolicited opportunity for you to fight for righteousness. For a warrior, there is no less than a free pass to heaven. Therefore, rejoice, Arjuna, be happy. This is your opportune moment. But if you do not fight this battle of good over evil, you will fail in both your worldly duty and your duty to your very self. You will violate your svadharma. Not doing the right thing when it is required is worse than doing the wrong thing. Ordinary human beings naturally strive to preserve their lives, but the warrior has a different way. Warriors must be ever ready, not merely to safeguard, but to sacrifice their lives for a cause, knowing surrendering your life to an ideal increases your glory. This battle is a righteous cause, Arjuna. No matter what happens, you win. If killed, you immediately enter heaven. If victorious, you achieve a great name and fame. Either way, you triumph. So arise, Arjuna, fight. And heed this important point about life in general. The way to win this great war is to react alike to both pain and pleasure, profit and loss, victory and defeat. So, when I read this to some people, they'll often say, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would God encourage violence, encourage someone to fight? What about ahimsa? What about nonviolence? Well, as we heard, a battle of good over evil is righteous. And nothing in nature is permanent. So this stranglehold that the dark forces, the oppressors, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, the stranglehold that they have, it can't last forever, it can't be permanent. And I see this as a cycle, as a great cycle that's coming to an end. But it's humanity's dharma, possibly, to really stand up and fight. And by fighting back, I don't mean violently protesting in the streets or vandalizing businesses or tearing up your town. It's different. It's about standing firm and standing up. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and definitely let me know in the comments how you like this video. I think that we're definitely coming to humanity's graduation in a lot of ways. And all of us individually and collectively, we're just really being asked to step forward and step into our fears. So, yeah. I hope you guys loved this story. Thanks, guys. I love all those hearts. Yeah, thanks, Karn Life. Yeah, we need to fight against these spiritual powers. Yeah, it's, we can't really just take it. And we have to understand our power. We have so much power. You know, a friend of mine says that these oppressors, these people at the very top that are controlling things, that they fear us. They may be quite cunning in their evilness and their ability to have this stranglehold that they've had on humanity for so long, but we are so much more powerful than them. And I think what we're seeing is their undoing. But it's up to us to decide what to do. So it's really a choice point. It's really a turning point. So I hope this story inspired you guys. I hope you liked it. Thanks so much for your... Oof, got a big moth that just came in here. Thanks so much for your comments, you guys. And this is a really amazing book. It's one of my favorite texts, and it's called A Walkthrough for Westerners by Jack Hawley. So thanks so much, you guys, for hanging out with me by the fireside. Let me know in the comments how you liked this, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.